Myself, Pradeep Kumar Tripathi, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology, Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today we have discussed lecture on OOPS with Java, that is currently running in the AKTU 4th semester IT branch. So now we start OOPS with Java. Now the topic is constructor and how the constructor can be used and what is the purpose of constructor, how it can be initialize the variables. So let's start our lecture. So first of all, when we start the constructor, we can start from the classes, how we can create the class and how we can create the object. Then we have to move on the constructor part. Suppose we have creating a class, public class main braces int x equal to 5, that is called class. In this particular class, main is the class name is main and variable is x equal to 5. Create an object for this particular class. We can create the objects by using the new keyword and the name is suppose this is a class and this is the syntax public static void main string args and the main, this is the class, and my obj, that is called object. New is the keyword that is used to create the object, and new, the main is the main method of the particular class. This is a class and this is the object creation of that particular class. In this particular Java, suppose we have using Java languages. In the Java languages, we have used the syntax public static void main. Public is the access modifier. Static is a keyword that is used to create the object, and void is a data type, and main is the main method, and string args, that is fixed in the Java programming, because Java has intake all the parameters or all the statement as a string. Suppose we have passed the character, then it can be considered as a string. So that's why we can put over here string args. This resembles for the array of string type. All the arguments which have either it can be integer, float, character, either whatever else data type we can put over here, then it is converted into the string part. And after that, main, that is the main class, and my obj is equal to object name, new is the keyword and main is the method. This syntax will create one object of that particular main class, and this particular object we can directly redirect to the variable. So system.out.println, this is the print statement of the particular Java programming. System.out.println. System is a class, out is the method, and println, that is the function name. And my obj.x, that is the object, and x is a variable which we can initialize, which we can print over here. So this is the basic program, how we can create the class and how we can create the objects of that particular class, so we can initialize that particular class. We can create multiple objects in one class. We can create like this, main obj is new, and we can create over here main. Suppose we have the name of obj1 equal to new and main, and this is called second object of that particular class. You can create like this multiple objects of that particular class. So you can create like this. So this is the multiple objects, and you can use multiple classes also. You can create also an object of a class and access it in another class. This is often used better organization of the class. Suppose one class has all the attributes and all the method, while other class hold main method to code to be executed. If we want to modify that particular attribute of the variable or attribute of the values, we can set directly, or we can set the by using the objects. Suppose we have a particular class of main, and in a particular variable of the x, we can initialize public static void main. After that, we can create the objects of that particular class, and we can directly use by obj.x equal to 40. We can initialize that particular object. Suppose we want to change x value to 50, then put over here 50, and directly you can print over here. So you can also modify the attribute value of that particular class or that particular variable used in the particular class. We can override the existing value also. Suppose we have a value of x equal to 10, and another we can change the value of x equal to 25. So how it can be done? It can be done by using this. This is a class, and this is our creating of the object, and we can put over here my obj.x equal to 25. That is, now the x value is 25. So it can changing the value of x. It can override the value of x. If we do not want to ability to override existing value, then declare the attribute as a final. You can use final keyword, then we cannot override that particular value. Suppose we have a value of x equal to 10, it is, and after that we can use my obj.x equal to 25. We can modify that particular value. We can replacing the value of 10 by 25, but we can give the error because we can use final keyword. We cannot change that particular variable if we can use final. If we cannot use the final keyword, then you can easily modify that particular value. So this is the use of final keyword. You can use multiple objects of the particular class. You can also define class method in a particular class. Suppose we have a class and we want to define our method in a particular class. So it is a public class main, and we can define static void my method. This is our first method that we can define over here, and this particular method body contains the hello world statement, and this particular method we can call over here, and we have the output of hello world. So this is the basic example of method creating in a particular class. Why we have talked about the class, object, multiple class, multiple objects, and the methods are there because we have used the constructor, and before reading the constructor, before discussing the constructor, we have the knowledge of class, object, multiple objects, class methods. So that's why we can teach over here method, class, and all. Now next is static versus public. What is static? What is public? Java programming that have either static or public attribute and methods. We can create a static method, which means that it can be accessed without creating an object particular class. Unlike the public, which can only be accessed by the objects. If we use the static keyword, we cannot creating an object. We can use, but in the public, which can only be accessed by the object, we can create the object. How static and public are differ? Because if we static, we can create in the static, not creating object, but here public we can creating object, because we cannot use directly in the particular class. Suppose here is example, this is the static and this is the public and this is the main method, and we can call over here. Suppose if we can read about this is the public static class. After that we can define our static method, we can define our public method, and in the particular main method we can call static method over here, and we can call public method over here. In this public method, my public method, if we call over here directly, we can give the compiler error, because we can create that particular object and you can use this public method by using object. If this is the public method, this is the static method. Static, this is public. If we can use directly by this method, then it will give the error. And you can use without creating the object. So this is the all about static and public method of particular class. Suppose we have a multiple classes, access method within objects. We can use particular method and directly you can call over the method and directly you can pass on the parameters, or without parameter you can put over here. So this is the various examples of the class, method and objects at all. Now we can move on that particular topic of a Java constructor, which is our main topic, which can be discussed in this particular series of the lectures. So what is constructor? The constructor is a main constructor in Java is a special method that is utilized to initialize objects. The constructor is called when an object of a class is created. It can be used to set a initial value for the object attributes. So constructor is a basically a method which can be used for the particular class to initialize the variables. And the constructor has the name must match the class name. It cannot have a return type. It cannot have a return type. This is the important part of a constructor, that is the match the class name and cannot have a return type. It should be remembered in all time when you use the constructor. Also note that the constructor is called when the object is created, and all the classes have a constructor by default. If you do not create the class constructor yourself, Java create one for you, or either you are not able to set the initialize the value of the object attribute. So constructor is a method or like some normal methods, but this is the main purpose to initialize the objects. Suppose we have to take the example of this is our main class and we have a variable of x and we have creating the class public main x equal to 5, set the initialize value of this. This is called constructor because class name and constructor names should be the same, and that can be used by directly creating the object. Main myObj equal to new. When we creating that particular object, it can be automatically called that particular constructor. When we creating an object of a particular class, by default automatically it called that particular class constructor of the main class, and the particular class constructor is called, then value should be initialized by this particular constructor. So it can be when we creating the particular object, we can call this particular constructor, and constructor initialize the value of x equal to 5, and we can put over here and we can print easily. So this is the basic concept of a constructor, how the constructor can be created and what are the constructors are used. We can further move on the constructor part. What is the constructor parameter? Constructor can be void, can be take the parameter which are the attributes of the particular initialize the attribute. Suppose we have this particular class. Suppose we have a class main integer x, public main int equal to y. We can pass this parameter to the constructor. This is called parameterized constructor, we can pass parameter to the constructor. So it is called parameterized constructor. We can pass y and x equal to y. So when we creating that particular object main my obj equal to new main 5, then this 5 will go to that particular method, and this 5 pass on into the y. So y equal to 5, and another step is x equal to y. So x equal to 5. So final output is x equal to 5. My obj dot x, then it will give the output of x equal to 5. This is the working of constructor, how we can initialize that particular constructor, how we can use that particular constructor in a particular class. So now let's move on second example of that constructor. This is the second example of constructor. You can see over here the class and all. You can practice over here. Thank you all for this particular lecture, and now we can proceed in the second lecture how the constructor can be used in other methods. Thank you so much.